Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for February the 13th through the 19th, 2023. So before we begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone who is returning to this weekly um, series, and to also welcome anyone who is new to our angelic wisdom community. And so before we begin, I just want to make a few announcements and then make sure you're aware of a few things. Um, firstly, um, if you haven't already watched the general angel reading for the month, make sure that you do that for February. I will put a link in the description area below. Also, if I've also posted the um, monthly angel scopes for each zodiac sign for the month of February. So if you haven't seen those, make sure that you go to my community page here on YouTube or under my videos, actually. So you just go there, and then you can find the all of the uh, angel scopes for the month. You can also find them through my Facebook page, as well as my Twitter account. So, yeah. And then also, the daily card readings you can find on my community posts. I think that's where you find those, and or Facebook. I think I posted on Facebook, and I don't think I post them on Twitter, because it's too long, the messages. But you can find those on my Facebook page as well. That link is below. Also, if you haven't subscribed or to my channel, make sure you do that. Select the all notification bell, like, dislike, and as always, leave comments. I'll just say, you complete the reading with the insights that impact you when you're watching the video. And so if you have the courage to do so, because I know I'm the type that often will keep silent too, but if you have the courage to do so, please know that um, what you write will be a service to others, and also make sure that you all read the comments so that that can help fill in anything for you as well. As this is a reading with our collective I am presence. So this is the wisdom, collective wisdom of each and every one of you who is watching. And before I begin the actual reading, I want to just do a brief meditation, which I was doing in half of the um, angel scopes at the beginning for the people in Turkey and Syria. And I think I read somewhere um, there was something happened in Maui. So if while we're doing this, if you know of any other place that may not have reached my attention, you can just place that intention for the angels and for our collective I am presences to also join you in your prayer offering for whatever other part of the earth they're writing needs assistance at this time. Okay, so and also I just wanted to um, just sort of let everybody know. I was telling you how nervous before we get into the meditation, then the reading, how nervous I was about, getting everything done, like for my taxes and everything. And I'm just gonna, throw this out here because I don't know if there's anyone out there like me where this has been like a huge headache in the past, and you find people who are very impatient, and if you uncomfortable dealing with finance stuff like I am. And the tax person that I found was incredible. It was recommended to me by a friend who's also been, I taught her daughter, so I've known her for a long time, and she's a paralegal. And I think she's been working with him for 14 years. And it was just the most incredible, easy experience that I've ever had with doing my taxes. And I just felt like he was so attentive and just incredible. And it happened so quickly. I mean, I got everything in, everything was uploaded. I'm sure many of you probably have these similar experiences, but this was all new to me. And even the signature was just sort of e-signature, and it put it everywhere. I didn't have to go flipping through. It was all done through this app. And so I'm just gonna, just in case anyone else has gone through the horrifics of finding someone that you can connect with and that will just, they do their job, but they don't make you feel like an idiot, or it's not an intimidating process. And so I'm going to include in the description area the link to my tax person. If you feel like you need someone who can assist you, if you're looking for someone. And so you'll see that in the link. I think it's his website, and I forgot to look at it before I wrote it down. But it's da taxguy.com. Okay, but it'll be in the description link what he had given me to tell you. Okay, and so let's take a deep breath and let's put aside all of our concerns and all of our fears and just breathe and relax. And just imagine that you're in a beautiful space out in nature, and that the grass on the ground is vibrant and beautiful, vibrant green. And there are trees and flowers all around you. But there is a particularly vivid tree, strong and tall. Its roots are ancient. And this tree is so nurturing. And its branches expand and hover over you like an umbrella. And as you're walking along a path, you come upon a bench. And it looks so inviting. And you feel called to sit here on that bench and connect with the earth and with the animals and insects and the birds and the elementals of the air. And you look up at the clouds in the sky as they are slowly moving through the atmosphere, and the sun is shining bright, and the skies are a beautiful royal blue. And as you sit on the bench, the sun warms you with its golden light. And you take off your shoes and let your feet just relax in the grass that feels like a very plush rug. So comforting, warm, and you connect and allow the roots from your feet to flow down into the earth, wide and deep. And you connect in with hollow earth, which contains all of the ancient civilizations that have been on the earth previously, and any species that may now no longer be, um, that may be extinct at this time. But in the hollow earth, everything that has ever been and is there, like in perfect, pristine condition and harmoniously aligned and full of cooperation between all beings and species and cultures and peoples. And now you feel in your heart a call. And you may feel just a slight bit of anxiety, as that is a sign that your angel, your guardian angel who is standing beside you right now, with its wings stretched wide, is calling you to go on a journey. And you reach out and take your guardian angel's hands that he's extended to you. And you fly energetically with this angel, your guardian angel. And he's taking you high above the surface of the earth, over the land of Turkey and Syria. And you feel your heart expanding wide. And now the tension that you were feeling is becoming easier. And you feel the energy drop down into your navel chakra. At first, it feels like anxiety, because this is how, at first, energy, when it approaches you, it calls you. And you at first resist, but it's your ego interfering, afraid, and trying to protect you. But your angel's love overrides this resistance and therefore your anxiety, and pours an incredible love right through you. And you feel the energy slowly just drain through your feet and down through the roots into the earth. And Archangel Raphael and Archangel Raziel and Archangel Michael are now joining you with your guardian angel. And they are standing around you in 4 positions: the front, behind you, and on either side. And Archangel Michael is placing around you a cloak of light and protection, and infusing you with an incredible mission of love. And they ask you now to open up your heart even further and to radiate outward through the doors of your heart. And as your heart expands, you appear to have an etheric wings of rose, gold, and white light. And now you feel like yourself. You feel free, and you feel as though you're part of oneness. And a giant white owl approaches you and spreads its wing in recognition of your divinity and bows its head. And it is guiding you, helping you to see the details of the people who may need specific kind of help. And so they ask you now to send out a ray of light that forms a blanket over the land and over the people in Turkey and Syria. And this blanket of rose, gold, and white is absorbed into the energy fields of the people and the land, and they will receive what their I am presence gives permission to on behalf of that soul. So there is no need to worry about free will or permission, as we're working with the I am presence of everyone. And for anyone who within the land that might possibly still be surviving, anyone in the areas where the earthquake disasters have happened, we send a blanket of rose, gold, and white light to provide oxygen for them, pure oxygen for them to breathe, and to place a bubble of light around them, of a clear blue sky, so that we place around them the air elementals. And we also place rose gold and white light around the hearts of anyone who is surviving or who has lost someone, to comfort their souls and their hearts and help them to heal. And if there's another place or location that you're aware of that needs assistance at this time on the planet, go ahead and do the same. I'm going to ask this also for Maui. And you can send this to anyone, anywhere, any place, or any community that is suffering and healing. Such as the family of the of Tyree, who lost his life in the um, situation with the police, and his family and loved ones and the community, and over the department, the police department, and each of their hearts, without judgment, but just compassion and understanding. We are all one. We are all a part of God, the source, and equally we all need compassion and understanding. That is where we begin to heal the divisions that have caused us to forget who each and every one of us is, and has also caused us to forget our divine missions as we become fallen so deeply into our egos that we cannot hear the source in our divine blueprint, the vibrations and frequencies of our divine blueprint. And when you're completed your mission, you return to that bench and just wiggle your toes and your head. And then when you're done, thank your angels, Raphael, Michael, Raziel, and especially your guardian angel for calling you. And now, when you feel that information at first, that call in your heart, that you do not run away in fear, but that you answer. So let's take a deep breath and release the energy of this. And let us tune in now to the energy for this week, for February the 13th through the 19th, 2023. And so the angels are showing me teeth. And they're writing the word hawk. And what I'm getting a sense of this is that the teeth are, they're really in bad shape in terms of, but when I see teeth, it's my symbol for over, judgment. And so what that means is um, that we're not, the teeth represent wisdom, but we use, instead, in our ego, we criticize, right? So the teeth kind of, you know, sort of process, help you to digest, break down things, break down the food so that it can be digestible. So, in the same way, we need to take our time. Don't be quick to judge. And they're saying that this is the first form of respect. This is where respect, the energy of respect, is respected, if that makes any sense. So that if you don't take your time to process information that is coming to you, and that means energy, just like the energy we felt when our guardian angel was calling us to service. But what we tend to do is we don't take the time to process. And so we ignore, or we make up our minds about what it is. And then the body then, or you interpret the sensation in your body as anxiety. Such as the same when you're meeting people, or you're starting a new job, or there's a new opportunity shown to you, and you freak out instead of being excited, because your practice of respect for divine guidance, energetic information, etc., is always one of criticism. And what they mean by this is internal criticism. You criticize yourself. You're disrespecting yourself, actually, because you jump to the conclusion that this is something that is either not going to be good for you, or that you're inadequate in some way. Okay? And therefore, your this is why our relationship dynamics in the world show us extremely divided. We're extremely suspicious. We trust no one, collectively. We have clear sides now. I mean, we can't really um, go, it's very tensing politically to um, interact with people on opposite sides of political lines or racial divides, because we are not first respecting energy that is coming to us. We automatically assume that we should be afraid of the other group or the other person. We automatically assume. And this is insanity in terms of ego. This is creating an enormous amount of emotional um, and psychological dysfunction and mental dysfunction. So we don't trust doctors, we don't trust science. And I'm just not saying that because of what's been said politically. I'm just saying it because it's just what is, right? Um, and on both sides of the line of this, people are, I'm finding people not trusting. And this is not to say that there might not be factual information where you have the reason to do so. And I'm not telling you to disregard any facts. But what I am telling you is that you cannot keep replaying something in your mind. For instance, um, you can't, you have to move away from it. You have to say, okay, this is what I know, and then continue living your life in the present, being open. Because what I feel happens is, and I think you understand where I'm going with this, is that quite often something like that is disturbing. But it's the word disturbing. When you have labeled something disturbing to you, it continues the energy to disturb you. And you can't carry all of these disturbing vibrations and expect to find peace in your life. So, like with all information, you you process it and then you move forward. So that is to say, well, if you decided that this environment or that door or that opportunity is not for you, then you let it go. And you don't have to deal with it ever again, but you keep focusing, but keep your energy free of these disturbing frequencies. Now, the angels were trying to tell me before um, about that they want to help you to um, remove suffering. Like they showed me a cross, and it's sort of like these kinds of things that we're talking about create suffering, meaning it creates this frequency of disturbance right in the core of your life. And when you focus on something critically like this, where you keep going over and talking about it and telling everybody else about it because it just upsets you so much, what it does is it creates karma. And in a fifth dimensional mindset, you have to understand the facts, be aware of them, but not let them have a dominant vibration in your reality. You are focused on the bigger picture and how to bring healing and love. So again, I don't know if it's the best example, but you've heard me say it many times about you can't, in terms of law of attraction, the person who wants war and who is against war are focused on the same vibration of suffering. The only way to not continue that vibration of suffering and not have it be at the core of your life, influencing all other frequencies coming into you as blessings, is to focus on, therefore, peace as opposed to war, because peace and coming up with strategies and activism on that path is then completely different. And so you've taken the facts, but transformed it into the opportunity that you're seeking. So it is sort of like what I was saying before, and the angels have been talking about with me, is when I get stuck on something that deeply scares me, that I get stuck there and I can't move beyond it. And so they suggested to move beyond that, to imagine what it would be like to be free when you're free of the things you're worried about. And I have to tell you, I've gotten so many things done now that where I would have procrastinated, tried to avoid it, tried to escape by getting lost in some daydream or whatever. Like these are the things that people do. We numb, we eat, or we put substances in our bodies to help us to cope. And it's because we can't see beyond. We don't think of what it would be like to be free of that. And so, in our lives right now, so that we are not creating karma that we are done with, that we're not creating suffering, the angels want you to think about what would be the solution or the experience when you person would be free of that. And what would it be like for your life when you don't allow that disturbance to be at the core of your being? And they're not saying for you to ignore, to do nothing about it, because you might be called, as we experience, to do something, to be an activist, or to do something within your job that makes a difference to these things that are going on in our world. But you can't do it with the thing that is causing the issue. You have to do it with a real solution or a real outcome that brings freedom or eases the burden of the pain or the um, incident from repeating itself. Because when our actions only cause something to repeat. So the reason why we keep turning to war is because nobody has really put on the table the real plan of peace. And so we keep karmically repeating this over and over again. We always come back to it as the way to solve problems. Like we come back to it as the way to solve problems with people we have labeled criminals. We haven't really gone to we have the idea of rehabilitation. And maybe there's something wrong with the word, but I don't have time to find a new one, vibrational word. But there's probably one that would actually create rehabilitation or restore. Well, I can't find it and I don't want to take the time, but you get where I'm going with it. So in your own personal life, think of these things. Because if you can't move beyond something like this in your personal life, then how can we do it collectively? We just keep going right back into the same um, situations because they are what? Familiar. Because we're not putting enough, we're not envisioning enough and really planning or strategizing enough. There's more to do. If we're not finding that way out that way, there's more to do. And there's another approach. I don't think we're looking enough for the other approaches because what people tend to do, and this goes back to that whole thing of respect, is that they don't take the time to digest even a suggestion that someone makes. They have all these things and they tear it down immediately because we're thinking that's not possible. And that's just ego. It's not divine guidance because faith faith requires that you believe mostly in what you cannot see or imagine right now or conceive because of the experience is so beyond where you are. But it's the realm of faith, this entire the frequency of faith that we need more of to pour more of ourselves into, meaning really getting uncomfortable so that we can begin to embrace the solutions to our world's problems and our own individual problems so that we can access the divine matrix of energetic information to help lift us over the hurdles of ourselves, of our stuff, if you will. All right, so let's take a look at oh my goodness. So this is the cherubim. And this is a very high frequency card to receive. This is 11th dimensional angels. And the cherubim oversee the stars and the planet. They make sure that the stars are, that every constellation is maintaining its course within the galaxy, our galaxy, and within the universe. And so the interesting part about this is that the cherubs, so what happened was that they broke off from the cherubim, like these little sparks of themselves, and to come to earth and to help work with humans, and we saw them as cherubs, like these babies. So they're just little sparks of cherubim who work with the stars. And so when you look up at the stars, you connect with the cherubim and their codes of light that they're sending from each of those stars and celestial bodies. And so it says, accept keys and codes of stellar wisdom. Okay? And so the cherubim are bringing in this stellar wisdom, keys and codes. And if you just tune in to them and just see the stars in your imagination, or if you're looking at this card, it will also activate the keys and codes of stellar wisdom within you. And this is to help us to, this will help you, because I worked with them in the previous month, I think it was January, and this has really helped me personally to work through some of these very complex situations that were going on in my life, that were playing over and over in my life. And this is where things like that came to me about how to face challenges. Because what I was doing, they were at the core of the center of my reality. And everything that that I was manifesting or trying to create was with that blueprint of suffering. And it was until that idea came to me to focus on what it would be like. So it helped me, like when I was working on my taxes this week, where um, I'm really, I can get the bigger pieces done. And then when it comes down to the smaller details, I'll want to just get out. Like I can't sit to focus on it, or I'll start to feel really stressed about some small little detail that has to be completed, because in my mind I'm exhausted. I've done the bigger part of the work. It was already out of my scope of understanding, and I'm done. I can't handle anymore. And when I kept thinking about what it would be like when I'm free of this, when I've accomplished something and it's no longer there, and what what freedom I would have with my time or other things that I wanted to focus on. And it just kept overriding that place where I'd be stuck in that very dark prison of, you're so inadequate. How are you going to get this done? This is going to go wrong, blah, 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 blah. And it stopped me from staying in that movie theater and listening to that ego scenario movie that I've been replaying. And it got me in a hopeful place, envisioning this new, wonderful movie where I'm free and I'm accomplished and I've, been successful. And so it was this kind of thing that helped me to change my reality on in a very universal scale, or on a universal scale. So this is how I experience the cherubim energy, those higher codes of wisdom coming in and helping me in my mundane reality, just helping me to look at the bigger picture. So I feel like that's how they assist. We're really late into the video. I'm so sorry, but it's all important information. And then you're used to me now. Those of you who stick with me. All right. And so here we have the Seven of Cups. Okay. And this is interesting because the first thing I get here is, you're focused on some really important decisions in this week. But the thing is, she's in that hammock, and that's you. And the angels are trying to tell you, relax. Just relax. Okay? Relax and trust. And the thing about it is, I see this gold dragon. It reminds me of the Christ dragon, which I did call in. And so call in the Christ light. It should be the first thing you do to place that frequency around you, because it's the frequency of compassion and unconditional love, but also service. So those ascended masters who work with the golden ray have come in and offered a service at a great sacrifice, like Jesus and like um, the teacher Kuthumi. These are wisdom teachers. And so you have to, you don't have to sacrifice, is what they're saying. You don't have to keep um, allowing things to trigger you emotionally, because this is what the cups are about. Every decision doesn't have to trigger you. Remember that concept of respect, okay? So you don't need to rush. You don't need to be anxious about any decision that or opportunity that comes to you, or choices that you have to make, or sift through. Let Give yourself the time, give yourself permission to just receive the information, and trust that when you allow these codes of wisdom into you, to absorb into your energy field, to absorb into your cells and your chakras, that in time you will discover what you truly resonate with. I was talking to somebody on the phone, and I was describing how my mom always, we were talking about finances and, you know, and overspending. And my mom had perfect credit. My mom, at the most in her life, raising three boys, at one period in her life, made $22,000 a year. Yet my mother never was in debt, and she had beautiful things in our home, and she always was doing things that other people who had were struggling, and they had two people managing their bills. But my mom, first of all, she always said she talked to God before she did anything. And there's a process of patience here that I'm trying to get at, just in case I forget my point. Um, and what she paid her bills. That was always first, and then any project which would be considered a roof on the house, or maybe shopping or something, that she paid, only had one project at a time. And what I didn't realize, as I've told this story so many times, is that she had the patience to wait. She Unlike what we're doing now, we're in a society where we have to consume everything, right? It's not the phrase I'm looking for, but it's this fast food is like instant gratification. That's the word I'm looking for. My mom didn't have this issue, because now when I was telling it to somebody, yes, I realized she focused on one project at a time. It may have taken her a year or a couple of years to pay it off, but she was satisfied with what she had, because she got to enjoy it. She would buy it, then pay it off. She had perfect credit. She could pay it off on a credit card, and then, but then she had something to look forward to when that project was complete. She already had all the things she wanted to do, but she had the patience, and she enjoyed having something to look forward to. Now, most of us may understand, like, today, that like sometimes when a project is finished, especially for musicians and artists, they say this happens, I heard, and I know I experienced it myself, like when I gave a recital, you're working towards it for months and months, and then when it's over, there's this emptiness, because what's next? And so I feel like most of us don't want to we don't have the patience with the process, and we don't want to ever feel that feeling like, what's next? I don't know what to do. And so I think it's something that, it's a part of that process of compassion and respect for ourselves, that we take our time, and we allow things to come to us when we feel that that it resonates with us deeply. Okay. The card for the middle of the week is the Four of Wands. And so this says that if you're patient, if you wait for things to come, then you're going to find yourself in this place where you're of stability, of spiritual stability, where, you'll feel as though everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to work out. Okay? So give yourself some space, some sacred space to figure out what you really want. Don't rush in and knowing, like, is that feeling like, yeah, I'm doing this, but I don't know this. But that's because you didn't take the time beforehand to respect the process, respect yourself, to figure out what you really want, so that you know when you have it, you actually know that when you do have what you have, and you are having a process of appreciation rather than doubt. Okay, and here we have the Hermit card. And so this is saying further, again, the staircase shows that it's a process, and it's a process that we need to be mindful as we walk this process. So in this case, I'm not feeling like you need to withdraw, but I do feel like it's saying before you make a decision, take some time to yourself, and remember to keep doing this at every stage of the process. That you remember that you always have the power. Your power is consolidated and can remain that way if you remember you don't have to do anything just because an alarm bell goes off, and some goal or situation screams urgent at you. You can still take this moment to take a deep breath, relax, digest this energy for yourself. Understand it until you find resonance with what it is that you are supposed to do. Because every one of us has our own divine blueprint that we are being called to listen to. So the card from the bottom is a 10 of Wands. And this basically is saying, look, don't take on more than you can handle. And the Suit of Wands is, usually seen as about our spiritual aspirations or our career goals and aspirations. And this is one thing that came to me in this last month about this card that I've never thought about before. This person is always seen as working hard or carrying more than they should. But there's a thing about passion. If you're really passionate about it, and if it really resonates with you, it's not work. It might appear that way to others, but for you it's not. It only is when you are not in alignment, when you're not resonating with what you're doing, then it does become all overwhelming to you and a burden. So make sure that whatever you are investing yourself in, that's going to take hard work. And that's what another thing I feel about this card, that whatever this decision is, yeah, it's going to be work. There's going to be some effort here. Maybe because it's going to be new to you or unfamiliar to you. But the point is, it's worth it if it's something you have already understood that you resonate with, and it resonates, and that you're in alignment with it, then it's not an issue. And that's what you want to make sure to get right before you make decisions. Okay? So I send you lots of love and angel blessings and wish you a beautiful week. God bless.